Hi everyone, here's TheBookchemist once again, and my video about the 20 books I like the most from 2016 is already online, but there's lots I would have liked to discuss about my reading experiences from 2016, and I felt like that video was already 30 minutes of me going, I liked this book a lot. So I thought maybe I would confine all the rest of the secondary stuff to a new video, and for that reason I'm offering you the first edition of the Bookchemist Book Awards. The Bookchemist Book Awards 2016. Jingle! The award for Best Cover Art of 2016 goes hands down to Lovecraft Country by Metraf, which is an amazing piece of art. I have no idea whether you can see or not, but there's lots of nice stuff going on. I love the old beaten up pulpy fiction look of it. The owls on top of the hill that is actually kind of a Lovecraftian Cthulhu-like monster, and you know the tentacles become hoods of Ku Klux Klan motherfuckers. It's an amazing cover. The award for Best Official Bookish Merchandise goes to this red bag from Garth Rees-Kalberg's novel, excellent novel City on Fire. Città in Fiamme is the Italian title. On the back is Ex Post Facto, which is the name of the fictional band in the novel. I love this thing, it's a good bag. Second place goes to the official journal of City on Fire by Garth Rees-Kalberg. Mondadori, the Italian publisher, is really milking this cow a lot. On the back it says, there's the quote from the Guardian review of the book that goes, "Can you afford not to have read this book?" To which the answer is, yes, you kinda can. I mean, it's an excellent novel, but it's a novel about 1970s New York City. It's not like, oh my god, it's never been done. The award for Best Academic Book I have read this year, I'm going to talk about a book I think everyone out there, every book lover should read and can completely understand, even if they don't have an English degree, if they have no knowledge of scholarly literature, about literature, that kind of stuff, is Narrative as Virtual Reality by Mary Lore Ryan. Narrative as Virtual Reality discusses the process of immersion into fiction, the way we immerse ourselves into a fictional world, why critics and the academia usually do not think of immersion as something worth studying, why immersion is often perceived kind of as counterproductive as far as literary criticism is concerned. It compares the process of immersion, which happens with immersive fiction, of course, with compelling settings and compelling characters, to the process of interaction, which happens with gimmicky fiction such as postmodernist novels, those kinds of things. It talks about this paradox that a book can be immersive or interactive, but hardly the same at the same time. It's an interesting read, it's great, everyone can understand it, it's a great introduction to the whole world of literary criticism, I think, if you're interested in the topic. It's actually very old. I think it's from the late 90s and early 21st century, which means that it talks a lot about stuff such as electronic poetry on the web that at the time was famous, but nowadays no one knows shit about. But this year Ryan actually published Narrative as Virtual Reality 2, which hopefully I will receive as a Christmas present, but probably I won't, in favor of yet another ugly jumper I'm never going to wear. The award for Best Children's Book of 2016, I mean read in 2016, goes to Charlotte's Web by E.B. White and Harold and the Purple Crayon. And it looks like I'm being silly, but I swear to god I had never read these books before, and they blew my mind, because Charlotte's Web is heartbreaking and amazingly well written, and it's a beautiful reflection on friendship, and Harold the Purple Crayon is just fucking mind-blowing. It's amazing, it's absurdly postmodern. My girlfriend works in children's literature, and for that reason my home is filled with children's books. That's the reason why I've read a shitload of those this year. But before that I had never read these books, also because those books like Charlotte's Web, those kinds of things, are not so famous in Europe, especially not in Italy, as I'm sure they are in America. And before this year I only knew about them from The Simpsons, American Dad, parodies of that sort. The worst book, children's book of the year award goes to Goodnight Moon. Why do you people like that book? It's creepy as shit. The best book that is not actually a book because it has pictures award goes to Watchmen by Moore and Gibbons. And I feel like a dumb fuck telling you about this, because I feel like someone going, oh, if you want to check a good band, check out the Beatles. I mean, I'm sure you people all know Watchmen. It's a classic, it's a masterpiece, but I really, really do not know the world of comic books and graphic novels so much, and it was mind-blowing how good this book was, and I loved it to bits. And when I reached the twist at the ending, I was like, yeah, stupid comic books. In the end, it's gonna come up that it was all just a dream. Nope, it fucking happened for real, shit. The Amazing Adventures of the Escapist was also an amazing series I read this year. If you are a fan of Michael Chabon's great novel, The Amazing Adventures of Cavalier and Clay, one of the best books ever written, check out this series, it won't disappoint you. If you are not yet a fan of Michael Chabon's Amazing Adventures, you should be, read that book. The award for best book that is not actually a book because it has dice goes to Above and Below by Red Raven Games, an amazing board game about building your own village that also has a strong element of storytelling. In this game, as you build your tiny cute village, you can explore the underground and have adventures in caves with monsters and treasure, and it's amazing. You're going to tell awesome stories between you and your friends, and you're going to crack up every time, and you're going to feel excited about your characters, the people in your village. It's an amazing game. I think it's a competitive game, and I think it would have worked better as a cooperative or semi-cooperative game, but I mean, it's guaranteed to give you some amazing evenings, game nights, and the art is also awesome. The worst racist moment in the year came from Thomas Pynchon's V, because at one point he says that Italians smell like garlic. Italians do not eat a lot of garlic. That's a common misconception. We actually eat it very sparingly. I don't know why you people are convinced of that. But truth be told, the book also said that Italian boobs are the best, so hey, go team! And finally, the awards to the 5 worst books I've read this year, pretty much the only 5 books I read in 2016 which I didn't quite like, go to Lovecraft Unbound by Ellen Datlow, which I am not a huge fan of Ellen Datlow. This is a very hit or miss and a very miss Lovecraftian anthology of horror stories. There are some amazing ones that kind of save the whole thing, but I wouldn't suggest it to like really anybody. It's filled with very weak, disappointing stories. There's Armada by Ernest Cline, which sucks kind of a lot. It's a long exercise in wish fulfillment, has a very weak and uninteresting first-person narrator, the plot is derivative, it has an interesting premise, but it's kind of all over the place. It feels very much like a very bad 80s movie, and it's quite clear as you read it that it was supposed to be kind of a good 80s movie, and also that it felt like it was written very, very quickly to capitalize on the success of Ready Player One, which is actually an awesome book, so it's a pity. I hoped I would like Armada. Then there's Purity by Jonathan Franzen. This is not like it's a terrible book. I mean, it's obviously Jonathan Franzen, and lots of people love it, and there is lots to love in this book. Some of the sections are amazing, but overall it was such an unpleasant reading experience. I think it's just that Franzen isn't anymore the author for me. He is so stuck up and reflects about today's world and today's culture from such like a moralist perspective. Everything sucks, everyone's shit. The 2 books I like the least from 2016 are The Making of Zombie Wars by Alexander Amman, which is hilarious at times, and it plays a lot with this idea of its main character being a screenwriter wannabe, and there are lots of ideas for potential scripts in this book, which are great and lots of fun, but tries to be political and fails, and as a story it's not too compelling, and the characters are not so interesting after all. And The Well by Catherine Chanter, which is yet another dystopian novel. In a way, it is well written, you see what I did there, because it's written as to have you hooked throughout the whole length of the book. The narrator keeps telling you just enough about things to have you interested in what happens next. In general, though, the whole point of the thing and of its reflections was that, of course, in terrible circumstances, people become terrible, and that the internet turns people into horrible monsters. I wasn't the biggest of fans. I didn't think it was very original as a dystopian novel, but keep in mind I'm not the biggest fan of dystopian novels in the first place. Your impression of the book might be different. These were the Bookchemist Book Awards of 2016. Let me know what your favorite children's books or comics or whatever were from this year. Let me know about your favorite books from 2016. Check out, of course, my top 20 books I read in 2016. Because all those are awesome books and I'm sure you'd love them all, more or less. Thank you so much for watching once again, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.